Robert, summer market is here.
and the living is easy.
And what would we describe a summer market? Summer market. How would we describe?
Summertime and the living is easy. You don't know that song? Gee whiz.
I don't know a lot of the songs you know. On this episode of Real Estate Chat with
Jonder Perez.
and Robert Eid, we're going to be talking about how things are shaping up. It seems that inventory is still at pretty lofty levels, and sales are what they are. Seasonal patterns still remain the same. And Robert's going to take us through some charts. Let's jump right into it real quickly. Let's start with sales, Robert. What's
Okay,
sales?
not too much changed. We are still the 25th best June, so that's laggardly, and around 6,200 sales. We were doing better last year, all kinds of things, stuff like that. So I've added in a 15-year average and a 20-year average to give us a longer time because the last 10 years have been a boom, except for a few months. So it's lousy. But there's until recently been a reduced number of listings. And so there's been a balance of not enough inventory, not enough sales, and it's maintained prices. Now we're going to go through the regular summer doldrums where only people who want to decide in July to move for September the 15th are really making a move in a hurry in the summer. And there's very few of those. So we got no specs. We got no first time, but we have first time buyers. We got no trade up buyers. We got hardly anybody that's kind of active in the summer, but we do have cupboard kickers and we do have bargain hunters. And this is the time to be a bargain hunter. You are going to look for something that's been on the market cumulatively over 65 days and has a target within 30 or 60 days of when they would like to have the proceeds of the sale of their house in their pocket. And that's who you negotiate with, someone who must sell, someone who is not fooling around, someone who's not going to say, I can wait till next year.
All
If
right,
you're
so
a buyer,
question
that's who you're looking for.
question then, if you're saying that on the buyer side, on the seller side, for our real estate chat viewers who have liked and subscribed and are planning to sell or need to sell or in the midst of selling their home in the summer, should they keep their home on the market if they're already listed and not necessarily in a pressing mode to sell, or if they're contemplating a summer listing for whatever reason whatsoever, what should the seller strategy be then, Robert?
Okay. If you're a buy sell customer and you know where you're going, then you're going to continue doing what you're doing because you have a timetable. You've already established a timetable based on when you would like to have the money from the sale of your property. And it may be that you're not going to get 100% of what you could have got in February. Maybe you're not going to get 80% of what you could have got 2 years ago, but you're going to get the most you very much can get. Buyers right now are looking for financing, and they're looking for financing that's going to be cheaper in the future. So what do they want? They want someone to subsidize the differential. If you can help out in that, then you can maintain your price a little bit better. Should you take your property off the market? Only if that suits you. If you want to sell in May and go away and not think about anything and go to the cottage and go on a trip and do the rest of your life, then do whatever suits you. But if you got to sell your property, then keep it for sale. The only thing that we have wrong now is a huge number of new listings. Some of them are not serious sellers, and others are very serious sellers. So here we go. That no matter whether they're serious or not, they all add up to 23,708 actives. Now, with the number of sales that we are estimating, 6,200, that's almost 4 months of inventory. So that is, we don't have a chart here showing four sort of where we start wondering if it's an absolute buyer's market. 3 is normal balance, and 2, it's an under is hot for sellers. So we're got to compare our neighborhood. For example, I'm going to use an example of mine. If you're in C15, which is the district within the city of Toronto 416, and it's sort of a slice between the 404 and Bayview Avenue. 1/3 of it is, well, not 1/3, one section of it is below Shepherd, and the other section is below Finch, and the other section is below Steeles. They're all different school districts, different bus districts, different needs and wants of the buyers there, and different built inventory. So If there's nothing for sale in your neighborhood, then you're a seller's market because there's nothing to compare with. Now, there are listings outside your area at a little bit cheaper, but if you've got a good property in a good neighborhood, it's still full steam ahead. Because if you've got the school district they want, you've got the number of bedrooms that they want, if you've got something that can turn into a homestay, whatever it is the buyers are looking for at this time in your neighborhood, then full steam ahead for you.
Well, okay, so what do we anticipate then what will happen? Because this is something ever since we started using this new realm system.
Yep.
Robert, you taught me how to do searches specifically for single family detached homes under that new system. And so almost every day, in fact, every day, several times a day, I look at this number and we're hovering at this 23,600, 23,700. It doesn't seem to be going up, but on the way up, it was a gigantic move. How will we see this affecting price? Because
Okay, if
it's
if
a,
we go to the very last one, you got a chart, and this is what I've been monitoring for a long time. Currently, we are the very top underneath that arrow. We're at 99.6% of the total number of listings, the maximum in the last 2 years, and the maximum was 3 days ago. We are 165% of the average of the last 2 years. We are 149.9% of the average of the last 6 months, number of listings. We're 123% of the average of the last 3 months. Then if we look at what Stratus says, in the last 2 weeks, inventory has gone up by 3%. And it's gone up in a month by 13%. And the arrow pointing to the right, in the last 2 months, there is now 34.55% more listings, one third more. Now, they're not all in your neighborhood. There are a lot of condos. There are a lot of 905s. There are a lot of tenanted properties that nobody wants. So look at yours. Is yours competitive? Is yours desirable? Do buyers want yours? If it's going to normally take a week, it's now going to take a month. But what's wrong with a month? Nothing is wrong with a month.
no, it seems like relatively speaking, the reason why there's such I mean, or you wouldn't call this such a real estate market shock is because all of a sudden we're in a situation where we haven't been used to. Like we've been used to scarce inventory, we've been used to things flying off the shelves and selling. We've been
Okay,
used.
case in point, John, we don't remember what the third and fourth quarter of last year was like. We don't remember what the third and fourth quarter of 22 was, and what the third and fourth quarter of 21 was. Those were buyer's market conditions. The only thing that's different now is more listings. Everybody is bailing. Everybody who's an investor is bailing. And so that's added to inventory.
And buyers are scared to enter the market at this point.
Buyers are too smart for their own good, and they're saying, I'm going to wait until interest rates come down to 3.75 for a 5-year fix. And when mortgage rates come down to 3.75 for a 5-year fix, they will be about 6 months too late, because everybody said, okay, well, I'll take a variable rate at 4.75 a year ago, and then they just let it float down the last dollar, the last 1%. So everybody is being too smart by half.
Also, that if everybody's waiting for that price drop to happen, I mean, if it will happen, it's going to happen in the summer because historically and seasonality wise, that's what happens. But
That's what happens.
fall market, do you see whatever prices are in the summer, it'll go back up again anyway.
Okay, that's the question that nobody knows. Is this something that's going to last, this doldrum going to last for 2 weeks? It's already been going since the last week of May. So it last for 2 weeks, so that's wrong. Is it going to last for 2 months? It might. Is it going to last for 2 years? It did before last for 7 years. So nobody wants to see the price of houses go down, but we have that chart, which we'll look at again, that if we looked at the 7-year comparison from a peak in 1989, it took a long time till we got to the bottom, and then it built itself up back up again. So if you are trying to buy a property for a 25-year investment horizon, don't worry about it. Pick the best one you possibly can that suits you, that is the budget. If you want to turn something over quick and do a flip job, no. All those home and garden TV flip shows, nobody's going to be watching those because there's no place for it. It's not sugaring up somebody's dreams if I'm going to be a real estate investor, speculator, flipper. Because we just won't have a market for it. You know, you look at those things, they're buying something for 128,000, for 524,000 and turning them over. Come on, it's not Toronto.
anything speculative is going to be a bit tough. Let's go to cumulative CPI
Okay,
and
we
how
must not
you
forget the effect of inflation. That from Stats Canada for 2020. So that's well, either the average for the year or the last of the year. I'm saying it's the last of the year. At we're counting at a 0 or 100. So we have 18% on top of that, over 3.4, 3.25, a little bit more than that, 5/12 is 5% a year. So all of our prices are up by nearly 20% from the last time we looked at it really hard before COVID. So all this 3.9, 2.1, all this nonsense you hear about year over year, it's all on top of the existing 18% up. So you've got to remember that interest rates are the biggest reason why $1 million is expensive. People were buying it like crazy because they could get a first mortgage or the variable rate for 0.85%. So there will be a flagging in prices, yes. There will be a flagging in inflation, but a flagging in inflation means they can bring down interest rates, which means something bad is happening with the economy. Bad news is good news for people who are watching interest rates to go down. So you're not a world economist. I'm not a world economist. We all just know how to take care of ourselves. Just be cautious and don't overextend yourself. If a prime lender will give you a loan, you can afford it, and be aware that we're just past the peak of the interest rate cycle, and interest rates are going to come down. So everything that you buy will become more affordable monthly because interest rates will be trickling down from here. For next year and a half, they'll be coming down 1.5. So don't panic. Don't try and guess what the future is. I just told you what the future is going to be. You want to buy something for your family's use. You
and
want to
that's
sell something because you're going somewhere else. Your life is changing, and time and money are the only two variables.
And I guess that's the conclusion, right, Robert? Is, you know what, we've got to buyers who are hoping that prices will drop. I mean, this is a neighborhood to neighborhood thing, and you know, how much confidence is there in your particular neighborhood versus how much inventory is there and people looking to offload houses. And then the ultimate truth that we've always been saying is as long as you're doing what's right for you and you have a long-term horizon in real estate, no matter what these little bumps are along the road, you'll be doing fine as long as you stick with your budget. Right. Any final words of advice, Robert, to kick off the summer market for our buyers and sellers?
No, just we're continuing on a little bit worse because it's a seasonal thing than we were before, and just don't panic. Just look at the amount of time that you have and manage your plan within that time. Don't leave it to the last minute. Don't try and outsmart interest rates. Just know that they're going to drop 1.5 in the next year and a half.
So focus on what you
And
can control, which is your budget and the decision making that you do, and those just
just like
jump.
you said,
Yeah,
that's
there
it.
you go. All right. Thanks for watching this episode of Real Estate Chat. If you have any questions about the real estate market for Robert and myself, leave it into the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Make sure you like and subscribe, and stay tuned for future episodes of Real Estate Chat, where we talk about things that Robert just mentioned throughout this episode. Take care and bye for now.
See you later.